Hey everyone, so in this video I'm going to be using a somewhat obscure team to try and take down the trader, and not just one trainer but two trainers. I've actually put together a very defensive team that's composed of a Pete lead, Pete support, trader, and the new S-Class Glenn. Now the reason I added S-Class Glenn is just because with his neutralize ability as well as his rush, which can cause minus 40 AP to all toons, it just makes him a good controller that can really mess up the flow of an attacking team. At this time, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more content and information. So for my attacking team, I'm actually taking in some different toons. Mainly, I'm going to be using 5-star Mark as my leader, mainly because his leadership skill gives plus 45% attack against all alert toons. And I just wanted to try something different. He also has a rush that I enjoy, so the HP will be very valuable at only 45 AP himself, because obviously to deal with infection you need to heal, and the defense bonus is nice as well. Now for this team I composed, I could have honestly just used a Priya lead, but I wanted to try something different, just for the sake of being different. Priya would have offered a huge bonus to AP when attacking, as well as plus 5% more attack to the team, because I'm using mainly range toons on this team. I'm using Maggie in this team as well, because she's a readily available free-to-play toon, she's a commander, her rush heals, her active skill recovers from impair, she's just a really useful command toon to use. I have added Princess, mainly because of her damage ability. She can apply normalize and taunt to the enemies as well. It won't always work against the trader, of course, because of his resilient ability, but I'm hoping she brings enough punch in order to take out the enemy. We have our handy dandy Dr. Stevens here now. At 66 AP, he's a fast rushing toon. He's able to control the enemy with his rush. He has an active skill that can work on the first turn, and his overall job is basically to give AP to everyone else, but I'm also giving him a fast healing weapon, so that again he can help me deal with any infection on the defensive team. Now Priya is another one of my damage dealers. I mentioned she probably would have been a better lead, but I just wanted to try something different. Now her active skill is actually something that I'm going to be using in this match. I actually find it to be very valuable and important because we actually have a defense buff on the defensive team, so her active skill can actually help remove that. I am running a defense down weapon on Mark with HP and defense, as well as team player, just to give my team a little bit of extra punch when they attack. The defense down weapon also is just to help possibly give me a debuff, so when I end up attacking I can do more damage to the enemy. Maggie, I just have a normal 8% weapon along with team player on it. I'm hoping that it'll be enough to give my princess a bit more attack, because her and Mark are both adding to her attack as well as crit chance, which the crit chance isn't as important on a toon like Princess. With Princess, I am giving her a different weapon just because I don't like the weapon that's bound to her at the moment. I will change that on Monday. Some of these weapons were already set a certain way, so I need to get some more blowtorches and stuff to adjust that. So right now I'm just going with a 20% AP to self with 20% attack, and team player so I can boost her attack, because team player works as a leadership skill. As I mentioned with Dr. Stevens' weapon, we kind of have an interesting one. It's not exactly what I would want. I would have gone with HP, defense, kept the third special, and then added the fast healing. This fast healing works better now because I have Maggie on the team as my support as well, so there's more healing going on. With my Priya, I've swapped out her normal weapon and added in a double attack weapon with rampage and a high amount of attack, hoping that she'll be strong enough to take out this very tanky defense. Now, so for this defensive team, we have Pete as a leader. I'm just trying to create a very tanky team, and as you see, it's pretty tanky. We're seeing, 9,000 HP, 11,000 HP. I have really good weapons on these toons. Focus stun along with cleanse on the weapon and HP. If I trigger focus, then he won't be affected by taunt and confuse, and then cleanse, of course, he has a chance to get rid of a negative effect on him. For the trader, I have a very defensive weapon for him. Defense, HP, infection, and cleanse as well. So the odd time that I am able to apply something to him, he has the opportunity to cleanse himself of that. Of course, Resilient already gives him a 50% resistance to absolutely everything, and I have a couple mods on him that make him immune to different things as well. When we move on to Glenn, I did do a weapon swap on him. I gave him just a normal stun weapon with defense, a huge bonus to AP when attacking, and alert buffs. So all other teammates, for every teammate on your team that is alert, gets 10% of a defensive buff. So on this team, it'll be 50% defense on all other toons except for Glenn. The second trader that we have has 50% defense, a huge bonus to AP when taking damage to work well with his taunt ability. He also has cleanse and of course his infection weapon. I'm just trying out a couple different combinations just to see how the trader functions with each type of weapon. The last Pete that I have, he just has kind of his normal bound weapon, so there is a window on this team, and I'm allowing that window just because if there wasn't a window, I think this would be honestly too difficult. I would want to have an alpha on my team for that disarm and being an S-class disarm along with the defense down, but I'm trying to do this with a somewhat free-to-play team, and we're just going to see how it goes. So this is probably one of the tankier type of teams that I would have created, and I actually made a mistake at the beginning of this match. I should have attacked that Pete with my Mark first because he would have had the chance to cause minus 30% defense down, and that would have been effective because I could have done more damage with Priya and Princess. I already have some infection on my team, but the fast healing was able to recover me from it. I can rush Mark, so that gives me a bit of healing as well as a bit of defense, which should help. The biggest worry with going against a team like this, the Pete in the center, he was taunted, but he was able to cleanse himself of that, so then he was able to rush, and now he's given more HP as well as some Guardian Shields, which obviously elongates the match. I actually remove a defensive buff on Pete and the trader with Priya before rushing with Princess, in order to get some maximum damage going and ensure that I actually kill them. Because in a different test run, I tried to rush Princess on those two toons, and their HP barely went down. They still had over half left, so I really need to remove that defensive buff. Now, one of the problems becomes there is no window in this defensive team, and I don't have a disarming toon. The only window-like toon that I have is actually attacking the trader, which means I'm infecting myself. So I have to hope that my fast healing weapons, as well as using Mark and Maggie, will be able to save me enough. So I need to be very careful and smart with how I rush. So by rushing my Priya first, it means later on I can rush my Maggie after in order to apply that healing right away. And that healing cures me of the infection that I just received. So I think when going against the trader, if you are using healers like Maggie, for example, order really matters. So make sure that you attack or rush with them last so that you apply the healing after you get infected. Now, here's an example where everything goes wrong. Like absolutely everything. And it just goes to show you how difficult some of these teams can be when they're so tanky. Like we just had the trader, of course, resist both taunt as well as impair. So we're kind of in a stuck boat. We have Priya, we have Princess. We're going to try and normalize and taunt. So we missed the taunt on the other trader. We've applied some control to the team. There's that 50% defense buff. We have Glenn who's neutralizing toons, so I can't use their rush. I can use Maggie's active skill to recover from that, but it's just so difficult to get everything right. Like Princess there didn't have enough power, so now I'm left with a trader that's still up. I got a little lucky because I had an AP drain that was able to drain him, so he wasn't going to rush me. I would highly recommend running some focus toons on your attack team, because focus, as I've mentioned numerous times, can help you ignore the effects of taunt and confuse. So I fled that last match because the trader in the bottom right hand corner was going to rush me and I would be taunted into him. Pete was going to recover and he would have been able to revive the other Pete. So it was just kind of like a null situation that wasn't going to work out for me. And it just goes to show you how many things can go wrong and how fast they can go wrong. In my current attack now against this trader defense team, I'm trying to attack it as fast as I can, and you'll notice that it's still not that fast. Like, this team is a very tanky defensive team, and I feel like even if I had like double Priya, for example, I would still struggle. I think Xander would be a good addition to this team because of his disarming ability, which of course would really open up the field. The downside is, for free-to-play players, the only disarming toons that we have are 6 stars, which might not hold up very well. Like, against a team like this is a pretty defensive team. It's passive, so you have a better chance of holding up against it, but it would still be very difficult and trying. I know that Scopely mentioned the best way to go through defenses with the trader on it is brute force, but the amount of brute force that you're going to need, especially if they start getting perfect weapons, as soon as they have cleanse on the weapon, if they just go HP in defense, it's going to be a very difficult toon to break through. You've seen that even my princess at full power wasn't able to break through it. Anyway, thank you everyone for watching and listening to my video.